Hey guys, well today we ran out of bread in my house and I also ran out of steam to head up the shops and buy some. So I decided to pull out what I had in the cupboard and make a loaf of bread. So why don't you come with me while I'm making it? Here were 3.5 cups of plain flour being put into a bowl. And then once that was done, I put in half a teaspoon of this dry yeast that I just got from the supermarket. It was $5.50 for I think about 10 packets. So just half a teaspoon here, and in it goes. You can always save the other half for another loaf later on. Now, I've never made a loaf of bread before, but I've been watching people do it. So in went a teaspoon worth of salt, and then I'm just going to stir around all the dry mixture together. In this little jug, I've got 2 cups of lukewarm water, but I'm not using it all at once because I'm not entirely sure exactly how much I'm going to need. So I'm just spinning it around and hoping to wet everything. This is quite a wet dough mixture that I'm looking for, so I don't want to be able to pick it up and toss around the dough. I want it to actually kind of stick to the bowl a little bit and spin around on my spoon. So I just keep slowly adding some water in to see how it goes. I probably could have stopped at this point, but I went in for a little bit more water, and to be honest, later on I kind of regretted it, but it still all worked out really well, so totally fine. Just keep spinning it around, and as you can see, it's kind of getting to be a little bit stuck to my spoon, but it'll also spin around in the bowl, so that's the kind of texture you're looking for. Could have been a little bit less runny than this one. So at a recent family luncheon, we were talking about my Saxenda journey, and I mentioned that I eat a lot of white bread, and it was suggested to me that maybe I would try and bake some. So that's what I'm trying to do here, to try and cut out the sugar. So once I had this done, I left it for about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours to rise, and as you'll see in just a sec, it really did double in size. I then just sprinkled some flour over some parchment paper, and here it is. I just tipped it out with the tips of my fingertips. But I did find this quite tricky to work on the parchment paper, and in hindsight, I probably just would have gone straight onto the kitchen bench with some flour. But anyway, I gave it a go. All you've got to do is kind of pull the dough mixture over itself a little bit. And you can see I then resorted back to the bench. And you just keep doing this for a little while, trying to get it into a ball. As you can see, I had a bit runny here, and so it did take me probably a little bit longer than it needed to, but I was actually enjoying playing with it as well. It was quite soft and kind of like Play-Doh from when you're a kid. So anyway, I was just mucking around with it here, trying to get it into some type of, log or a ball, and just continuing to place flour on top of it whenever I felt I needed to. Grabbed a new bit of parchment paper and put a little bit more flour on my hands, and then just all my method was to just simply get this onto the parchment paper. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and on it goes, slops on. But anyway, we'll just pick up the parchment paper then, and I thought I can just plonk it inside my casserole dish that you would have seen I picked up the other day when I was out at Vinnie's. And then I put a little bit of olive oil on the top, and I also sprinkled it with some rock salt. And there it was ready to go. So I have popped the lid on top of it, and then into the oven it went. It was in there for about 30 minutes with the lid on, and this is what it looked like when I pulled it out after the 30 minutes. And then I decided to leave the lid off and pop it back in for another 10 to 15 minutes until it got golden brown. This is how it came out of the oven, and I was pretty stoked with it actually. It smelled delicious and it looks good. And here it was golden all over. I was absolutely wrapped with it, and you could just smell it. I knew that it was going to be delicious. I'm so excited. Anyway, cut through it. It was boiling hot. I did not wait. Probably should have waited, because if I had, it might not have been so hard to cut. But then, of course, I did the wrong thing and I smothered it in butter. But, how else do you eat bread? Seriously. And it was just so yummy. I would definitely make this again, and I would suggest you all pull out your bowls and flour and get it done. Bye for now.